Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I kind of go back and forth with where all of this should land on the PGA Tour. I think individual 72 holes is what I really like for professional golf, for big time events.
Like, we're gonna make this all about teams. We're gonna have home games, and you know, that's gonna be the focus of this competition. I don't think that works if you have guys that are still trying to play at the highest level on an individual front.
Only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access. Only on SportsGrid.
They have a former executive that they claim was stealing proprietary information from them and passing it along. Initially, it looks like DraftKings is on the right side of this.
They were really heated about what they said, that he left the company right before the Super Bowl, allegedly took all this confidential information with him about the most important customers, the bettors that spend the most with the company.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Carver Hodges called me an old curmudgeon in the break. Unbelievable. Into the final hour on C2C on a Misery Monday. Good to have you with us. Everyone, all of our TV platforms, all of our radio affiliates, SiriusXM, Sports Byline USA, Southern California. You know we love you. It's your boy Carver High rolling with Uncle Full Belly today on a Monday.
Uncle Full Belly, indeed. We have a lot of baseball games for tonight. And also this hour, don't forget, we got to get to the hockey as well, as we'll have a game one in South Florida. Well, and you got Haro coming up, and there's a big game in South Florida tonight. Maybe he's going. I don't know. We'll have to find
Waldo's
out
going for
in
sure.
a little bit. He's got to hit that buffet up there in the
P.F.
media
Chang's
lounge.
at the mall right across from the arena. I had dinner with him there.
That's right. The Tigers will be in Cleveland to open a series tonight. Tigers got swept by the Yankees in the Bronx. Jack Flaherty will try to turn things around. Tristan McKenzie will go for Cleveland, who's minus 120 at home. Even money for the Tigers and a flat 7 here.
Yeah, listen, I'm on McKenzie. I'm on the Guardians. They win every day. It's crazy. They're one of the best teams in baseball. They just win. So I'm betting on them over Detroit.
The Buccos are still at home at PNC. They have the Angels coming into town. Mitch, don't call me Helen Keller against Tyler Anderson tonight. Pirates minus 160. Look out. Plus 135 for the Angels and a flat 8. You don't see the Pirates booked at that price too often. Minus 160.
I like Anderson and the Angels tonight here at $1.35. His ERA's been spectacular. He's not giving up runs. In fact, I'm willing to take the Angels and the under in this game at PNC. I think the price is way too high on the Pirates. And let's face facts. Helen Keller has been giving up runs. He's given up 5-6 runs every time he pitches.
He certainly has. The White Sox are in Tampa to start a series with the Rays. If you remember, Scotty, they swept the Rays at home a couple of weeks ago, back when they only had 3 wins. Now they only have 8, so they haven't done much winning since sweeping the Rays. Tyler Alexander and Mike Clevenger tonight. Rays minus 175, plus $1.45 for the White Sox, and a flat 8.
Yeah, I laid a 1.5 here with the Rays at home, and I got it like $1.25, $1.28 this morning, something along those lines. I'm going Rays and laying run line.
The Padres are in Chicago against the Cubbies. Yu Darvish goes for San Diego. And look who's back, Scotty, making his first start since getting injured in his opening day start. The Steel Mill returns for Chicago. Justin Steele. Cubbies actually I pick them now, -110 both ways, and a 7.5 total.
Yeah, I'll take the Steel Mill, U.S. Steel's finest, and the Cubbies, a pick 'em at this point at Wrigley. I'm on the Cubs over the Padres tonight on the north side.
The Twins have the Mariners coming to town in Minnesota. Louis Castillo tonight against Simeon Woods Richardson. The Twins -105 at home. Mariners -115, small road favorite, and a flat 8 total.
I mean, they'd won 12 in a row and finally lost a game. And now I'm going to jump off of them? Wrong. Give me the Twins at home at even money over Castillo and the M's on the road.
Mets and the Cardinals get together again once they played at Citi Field. What was it, last week? So Kyle Gibson and Sean Manaea get the ball. -135 for the Redbirds, +115 for the Mets. A flat 8 here as well.
I mean, the Mets just lose every night. Give me the Cardinals.
Texas visits the Dump in Oakland. Scotty, can you believe we're 35 games into the season? I did not realize this. The A's are 17-18. They actually haven't been awful. They've been a tough team. There's teams that have been much worse. They have Alex Wood going tonight against Andrew Heaney. The Rangers are -135, +115 for Oakland, and a 7.5.
Yeah, I bet Oakland at +118. And where are the fans? You know, they cry and they complain and they moan and groan. And this team goes out and wins and has a 17-18 mark. They deserve better. You wonder why they're leaving Oakland. Well, first of all, it's an absolute dump. And second of all, these phony-ass fans of theirs always cry that, the owner, Fisher, they blame him for everything. Meanwhile, none of them go to the games. There are no fans in that crack-infested neighborhood, okay? That's why they're leaving Oakland, because it's a hellhole. I've said it a million times. No one wants to hear me. No one wants to be there. No one. No pro teams want to be there. They all ran like cockroaches out of the kitchen when the light comes on at night. That's why they're leaving. And where are the fans when they're winning? They're nowhere. What are they, home beating their drum? Their fans are so ridiculously fake. It's not even funny. Oh, please don't leave. Please don't leave. But we never go to the games. They never went to the games when they were good.
Nobody went to the games ever. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Ever. Nobody went to the games. They're only 2.5 games out of first place. I just wanted to go and see, too.
Yeah,
obviously a long way to go. And they're 5 games ahead of the Astros as well.
We need to root for them to win the division from this point forward.
It really is and I've seen people make this comparison. It's kind of like the Indians in Major League, right? The water doesn't work in the shower.
Right.
The team plane is got the engines
you got
on
a
fire.
Snake in the locker room. They're doing voodoo.
And they're 500. They've played well over the first 6 weeks of the season.
This is Moneyball with Brad Pitt all over again.
Sir.
They went on a tear.
And the Marlins are in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. Rodri Munoz against Walker Buehler. So Walker Buehler makes his return tonight, Scotty, for LA. They are -350, +260 for the Fish, and an 8.5 total.
Yeah, you heard me earlier with Davis. I'm on to lay 5.5 runs here. It's spank time. This Marlin team is literally a Babe Ruth team. That's like 8th to 10th grade. Babe Ruth. That's what they are.
They literally are like that. I apparently didn't have this one on my list. Milwaukee's in Kansas City tonight against the Royals. Wilson and Cole Reagans, -140 for Kansas City. I missed this one this morning when I did the workup, Scotty.
It's got to be Ronald Reagans tonight getting involved for the Royals in KC.
I just skipped over it. I actually had it on the rundown, and I blew right by it because I was so excited to get to the Oakland A's is what I was doing. All right, I got 2 minutes here. Can I play you the finish from the Run for the Roses on Saturday, which was, look, I mean, I didn't have the winner, which was Mystic Dan, but Scotty, this was A hell of a finish. You had almost a three-way photo finish down to the wire on NBC.
It is Mystic Dan down toward the outside with the lead in the final 16. Forever Young, Sierra Leone is coming. These three coming down to the wire. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's a photo of the Derby. Oh, it's a photo. Was it Mystic Dan or was it Sierra Leone? Forever Young was between them, catching freedom, finish fourth. A photo finish to decide the 150th Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, a couple things. It was a great race. One thing I noticed, like two things. One, boy, it ain't like doing the NFL, Mike Tirico, is it? When he has to spend 4 hours, bloviating bullshit to people about rich people that own horses. I mean, it is like the longest yard broadcast from hell. Beautiful. This family has been in the horse business. They love horses. They raise it on grass in Kentucky. They have spent their entire life. The grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren have been in the horse business. Just a torturous listen to watch that thing. And then secondly, let me just say this. Every single one of their experts, they had 20 of them at the race. I mean, everyone from Eddie O to women, they had every single horse expert. Not one person got it right. Not one. Not one. Not one. My buddy in Vegas got it right. He's an unemployed pothead. And he bet, he goes, I had Mystic Dan at 18-1 for 100.
The Prime Minister had him. Cam Stewart had Mystic Dan. The Prime Minister.
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah, the fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing. They're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
A lot of books, and outside of the New York area, the Canes are actually favored in Game 1 of this series. I'm seeing it right now. I'm looking. I see a -115 Canes, Rangers -105.
I like the 6 and 7 games prop, like I took with Boston, Toronto, which we now know is going to cash. I think it's got a chance to go the distance. It's going to be a long, tough, close series.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the map. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access, only on SportsGrid.
Rick Haro is our sports business and legal genius from Harvard on SportsGrid, and you see him on all the shows. Like, he's a lot like Davis Maddock, but a lot smarter and better looking. He does the early line. He's been known to do, you name it, in-game live all access. He's on Coast to Coast every week. He's on the radio on Carver and Lisi. Game time decisions. What doesn't he do? Rick Haro, I will guarantee you, He's got to be on his way tonight over to the PF Chang's across from the arena in the mall to have dinner without Ferrall. Uncle Full Belly is not having dinner with your boy Waldo tonight. Rick, are you going to the Panther Bruin game? It has to be.
No, next Tuesday. I'm having people come. No, I'm having people come over and watch One Love, the Bob Marley
dog.
movie. No, better yet, the Bob Marley movie. I don't know why. Because I said it in advance. I have people coming over. I called Bettman to find out what the schedule would be. They played coy. They could have talked about when this game would be. Everybody assumed it would be Monday night, but nobody knew. As you know, the NHL doesn't announce the schedules until some peak of suspense. So I couldn't tell people to come watch Bob Marley Tuesday. So I'll have one TV on the game and one TV on Jamaica.
Yeah, I've always known Rick to be a huge fan of reggae and rolling spleefs.
Yeah, I know.
Now, how many times have you been to? I've been at least 10 times to the Kentucky Derby. It is a bucket list event. I was saying to the guy from Daily Racing Form last week, the way they park the cars in all the people's yards and in the neighborhood there by Churchill Downs, it really is a Shangri-La, magnificent place. And going to the race is just awesome.
The most important 2.5 minutes in life. I'll just let it sit there. But the other thing about the business of the Kentucky Derby, look at the numbers this year. The betting for all national for the race. Well, the handle was up. The handle was about 446 million for the week. The betting all told about 320 million, up 11%, up 4% respectively. $200 million for the paddock renovation, and the attendance was about 156,000, which was up 4.2%. So anybody that says racing is dead or dying, at least for 2 weeks now and the Preakness, they're wrong.
Yeah, what is going on at the NFL where they're firing a bunch of people?
Well, they're redoing NFL Network, and our buddy Andrew Siciliano might be gone. Melissa Stark. There were a few other personalities that may have been merged in. The rumor is that ESPN is going to buy the in-game live or the live programming unit from the NFL as part of their deal with Disney. Nobody knows that yet, but we all find it ironic after talking to people in the industry this morning that the NFL leader, $20 billion a year in revenue, is going to fire people in media.
Is it true that Michael Irvin is out?
Yeah, well, that's the thought. And the understanding is nobody's confirmed any of that, but he's not talking, and he usually talks about everything. So I assume he's going to go somewhere else as well. So it's a shakeup time. And we talk about NBA and the shakeup about Charles and Kenny Smith and Ernie's not leaving. But, what if TNT and that whole group gets outbid by Amazon, NBC, ESPN? And do we have those guys take inside the NBA to Disney / ESPN? Say it ain't so.
Wow. And that deal is allegedly in what neighborhood money-wise? You're talking massive billions.
$78 billion total. 3 times the current NBA deal, where everybody thought that was off the charts. Now, people say that the Disney part is $2.6 billion a year, and the Amazon part about $1.8 billion per year. They may have Friday wall-to-wall coverage and streaming it. They may buy an entire evening. And the other rumor is, does NBC come in with a $2.5 billion bid? You add them all 3 up, about $7 billion over the life of the deal. It's nearly $80 billion, which is a lot of money.
So Canelo Alvarez on the Cinco de Ferrella weekend won another fight against this guy, Munguia. Just a pathetic fight, honestly. These fights he has now get worse by the fight. I heard today a rumor that he's going to fight Bud Crawford, and that would be legitimate. If that fight came, I'd rather see Benavidez. As far as I'm concerned, Canelo talks big about Benavidez, but I actually think he wants no part of him because he doesn't want to lose to him.
Well, but look at the mismatch results. You always look at the card, right? And if the cards are close, then there was some, not a fix, but at least there was some opportunity to be competitive. These were all 5, 6, 7, 8-point victory, unanimous decision. So I didn't see the fight. I'll take your word for it that it was pathetic. But I also understand that they've got to keep it going. So this was the number 4 ranked ESPN fighter and otherwise. So I guess we have a match. And if it's not about the next person, it'll be something down the road to look for. Not a rematch, because that would be horrible, but maybe something more competitive than we just saw.
I loved watching Max Verstappen lose in Miami.
Yeah. Well, I was talking this weekend, and actually I did a Sports Business Minute. I had to redo it because I was talking about how the ratings in Bahrain and a couple of other of these Formula One stops before Miami were down. And so why? Well, because Verstappen keeps winning 19 of 22 last year, like Shoemaker, like Hamilton. And along comes Nando Landis. And Nando, a Brit, shakes it on up. And the bottom line is this was a huge win for the city of Miami, for Steve Ross, for Hard Rock, and for this individual racer, and not for Verstappen.
And beautiful women. I have never seen so many beautiful women in one place in my life as the Miami Grand Prix. Real fast, 20 seconds. When are they going to fix these baseball uniforms? They say they're fixing them. How long is that going to take?
Pretty soon. I mean, Fanatics is at it right now. Nike's the contractor. Fanatics is a subcontractor. Bigger. If you sweat in different places. The names are bigger. And so that was a big mistake. And let's see how long it takes to rectify. My bet is it won't take long.
Ricardo tonight, man. Rolling ganja. You like that one, no?
Yeah.
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah, the fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing. They're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
A lot of books, and outside of the New York area, the Canes are actually favored in Game 1 of this series. I'm seeing it right now. I'm looking. I see a -115 Canes, Rangers -105.
I like the 6 and 7 games prop, like I took with Boston, Toronto, which we now know is going to cash. I think it's got a chance to go the distance. It's going to be a long, tough, close series.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access, only on SportsGrid.
It's the best show anywhere. Ferrall Coast to Coast with your boy Carver High. Any thoughts on your boy Don't Call Me Roddick Bonk Foxa Farella with the game winner last night at the American Airlines Center in Big D? What a game 7 between The Stars and the Champs who go down.
What a Game 7 it was indeed, Scotty. And look, I think they lost the first 2 games at home in that series. They had to rally, win 4 of the last 5 games. And every game was like this, right?
And they
Low
did it.
scoring, tight, tons of unders. It was 1-1 going into the third period, and this one as well. Radek Faksa, who missed a couple games early in the series with an injury, he puts the Stars into the second round on Bally Sports Southwest.
Nez leaves it for Smith, back for Faksa, was in his skates, backhand, he scored! Radek Faksa, opening minute of the third. He's back in the lineup, and the Stars are back in front.
You got to be kidding me, this Pete DeBoer. Now, a couple things. Talk about his Game 7 prowess, and then can we talk about the chick that sits behind him on the bench that has season tickets that is just absolutely stunning, and they need to get her in movies as quick as possible?
She's been the topic of a lot of conversation, right? I mean, even your boy Biz has brought her up on the TNT broadcast with the girl that sits behind Peter DeBoer, who now, by the way, is 8-0 in Game 7s. That's now,
that's
look,
crazy.
Sometimes you don't want to talk about, well, the past, it doesn't matter, different teams, all this stuff. That's freaky because he's been with everybody. Devils, Sharks, Vegas, now in Dallas with the Stars. Never lost the Game 7. That's nutty.
That's something to hang your hat on. I'd retire now. Greatest coach ever.
Well, it doesn't get any easier for them. Like we said when this series started, despite being the top team in the West and having to face the Stanley Cup champs, it was going to be a tough road. Well, now you face the Colorado Avalanche in the second round. They'll start this series, Scotty, tomorrow night. Stars are favored -125 for the series. Colorado, who's been off for a while, remember, they beat Winnipeg in 5. They haven't played in about a week. So that will come up just like tonight, and we're going to get to Boston and Florida and the amount of rest these teams have had, Scotty. You'll get that in this series tomorrow with Colorado and Dallas.
All I hear about is rest, and all I know is that they haven't played, and that's a problem for me. I think Colorado's a lot faster than Dallas. I think Dallas has got some guys like Ben and Sagan who can't skate anymore. They have no speed. They have old guys that know how to play. Crafty, slick, great special teams, move the puck well, take good shots in the right spots, the circles, the high slot, low slot, crease. These guys are great players. Dallas, that's why they're the number 1 seed. But Colorado's a lot faster than them and more explosive and dangerous. Although I'm going to take Dallas right from the jump based on the fact that they've been playing. I don't bet on teams that haven't been playing.
I'm also going to take them as well, Scotty, just on the fact, like you just said, they're better. I think they're better than Colorado. They might not have the flashy name firepower like Nathan McKinnon and Rantanen and such, but I think top to bottom, they're a better team than the Colorado Avalanche. I want to give you this as well. For the first time in 34 years, NHL playoffs, usually anything can happen, right? There's usually a bunch of upsets in the first round. Not this year. First time in 34 years, the favorite, the Chalk, went 8-0 in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's pretty wild, too.
That's really wild, and it's not happening in this round.
It's not happening in this round. I agree with you. And this round is already underway with the Rangers beating Carolina 4-3 last night. They lead this series 1-0.
What a game, Mike.
They jumped up. It was a hell of a game. And you know what's going to be very important in this series, and I know that this is very not breaking news at all, but special teams are huge. That Ranger power play right now, Scotty, is running at a very high level, and Carolina better figure it out, or else they're going to have nights like last night, and they're not going to get out of the series.
Yeah, I heard that too. Like, we're hitting posts, we're hitting crossbars, we're missing open nets. Well, all of those things are not goals. And then when the Rangers had the power play, they scored twice.
Yep, and that's going to be a major factor in this series. I'll give you the series numbers for that, and then we'll get ready. Boston, Florida, Game 1 tonight after we talk to Adam.
And Waldo isn't going.
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. Because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went. What? Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
A lot of books, and outside of the New York area, the Canes are actually favored in Game 1 of this series. I'm seeing it right now. I'm looking. I see a -115 Canes, Rangers -105.
I like the 6 and 7 games prop, like I took with Boston, Toronto, which we now know is going to cash. I think it's got a chance to go the distance. It's going to be a long, tough, close series.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access, only on SportsGrid.
I'm a little surprised Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, isn't at the Phillies game today. I'm hearing it's because they don't serve hot tea at the bank, only beer, that he refused to go to the day game, the businessman special. The Phillies are up 5-0 in the fifth with a runner at second, 2 outs, and they just keep pouring it on today over the Giants. All right, Adam, Carver High let me know. He informed me that later this week, I believe, the NFL schedules come out, and we like to, on the Thursday that it comes out, spend a quality segment going like this: win, loss, win, loss. That's a win. That's a loss. That's a win. That's a win. Oh, that's automatically a win and loss. All these fans think they can look at the schedule and determine what their team is going to do this year. And we know there's only one way to find out what teams are going to do, and that's through Adam Kaplan. We'll start in the AFC East with the Bills, pre-draft 10.5, post-draft 10.5. I am not buying the Bills after the whole team left.
Yeah, and honestly, their draft, look, they dressed what they could. They still have a lot of holes, particularly on defense. Wide receiver, Coleman, second rounder. He's going to start, no question about it. Khalil Shakir, who we talked about before the draft, he's going to have a pivotal role on Curtis Samuel, but it's not the same. This division to me is wide open. The Bills, slight favorite there. They stayed at 10.5 wins. The over is plus 100, which tells you people really don't think that they're going to get over 10.5 wins, that they're somewhere around 10 or even 9 win mark. But they're still the favorite. The Dolphins are still 9.5. The over is minus 145. The under is plus 120. My issue with the Dolphins is a lot of guys coming back from serious injuries on defense. That does worry me a little bit. Plus, they have a new defensive coordinator. Vic Fangio is now in Philly. The one change we have two changes in the division. The Jets now, people are hitting that over, 9.5. Everything is good now with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is healthy. He looks good from what I understand. No real restrictions coming off the Achilles. The over, which over 9.5 before the draft was minus 110. It's now minus 120. Clearly, people think they're going to be better, that they're going to get 10 wins. And then the Patriots, this is interesting. Now, you don't usually see this. Their total was before the draft, 5.5 wins. The over was plus 115. It dropped not one half game, but a full game to 4.5, but the over is minus 160. On paper, Scott, they've got all sorts of issues. Issues at receiver. Yes, Jacoby Brissett could be starting opening day if Drake May's not ready to go. A lack of playmakers on defense, new coaching staff, new front office, a lot of change there. It's hard to say under is the play. And obviously, people are saying now they're hitting the over 4.5. But
No
they change
way.
again and drop again. I know. They're not very good. They're going to be one of the NFL's worst teams. It's obvious.
I think the Dolphins will be better. And I think, listening to people tell me how great Aaron Rodgers is doing is laughable. He got injured in 5 minutes last year and was done for the year. He took one snap and his season was over. Now all of a sudden he's healthy as he gets older and older, and he's just going to be, every game he's just going to throw for 400 yards. People are tripping. The Jets always stink. Let's get that through our thick heads. I don't even want to talk about it. Let's go to the North.
All right. You can do it. All right. So let's go to the Ravens. Look, they're the perennial favorite. Everybody knows that. Their over-under total is 11.5. Actually, it was plus 120 going over 11.5. It's now dropped to plus 115 and minus 140 if you want the under. The other one that's a change. Now, we talked about this 3 weeks ago. I said, get on the Steelers now. It's not going to stay at 7.5. It jumped a game.
You're
you
right.
And I totally agreed on that. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, folks. How in the world could it? I don't know where they came up with 7.5. Not to crush the lines makers. That was a bad number. Of course, people hit it. It's now 8.5. And by the way, the 8.5 is still a value at over minus 120. He's not having a losing season. In my grading, I gave the Steelers the third best draft. They've had 2 back-to-back drafts here, really, really good. They're going to be better at quarterback with Russell Wilson. They're going to be better coached. Everything is better with this football team. They're going to give the Ravens a run. And also the under now is plus 100 at 8.5, folks. They're not going to be under. Tomlin never has a losing season now. He hasn't won a playoff game since 17. That doesn't matter. They're going to be 9. They're going to be 9 wins or more. That's an absolute lock.
I already bet it at over 7.5. And then I just want people to know that Adam has said to Mike off air that when he gets done talking about the Steelers on this program, he's such an Eagles fan that he washes his mouth out with soap. His mom taught him that at an early age. How do you think the Bengals are going to do with a fixed wrist of their quarterback?
Look, they said everything's good now with Joe Burrow. He's healthy. Look, T. Higgins is going to be there. They didn't trade him during the draft. They drafted his potential replacement down the line in Jermaine Burton, a third rounder who I like a lot out of Alabama. Defensively, they've got issues on the back end. This is a big number for me, Scott. I don't like this one. The over-under total stayed the same. The overs, believe this or not, is for the Bengals is minus 125. I like the under plus 105. It stayed the same. Yeah, I don't see it, man. I don't know where they're coming up with this one. They're not that good. Here's the problem. The Ravens are always good. The Steelers roster is terrific. They've had a very good offseason. They're going to be better coached, better quarterback, so they're going to be better. And the Browns now the issue with the Browns is we get to them, they stayed the same. They're under. Their overs, again, it's 8.5, which is not a lot. The over is minus 125. The under is plus 105. It stayed the same as it was pre-draft. Now it's post-draft. Issues with the quarterback. He's still rehabbing. Now they think he's going to be ready for training camp. But Deshaun Watson, Scott, has not played highly competent football since 2020 with the Texans when he was really good. But he hasn't played well since then, unfortunately.
All right, let's talk about the Texans and the South.
I love the Texans here. I know sometimes when teams come out of nowhere, we saw what happened to the Jaguars last season after that crazy breakout 2 years ago. The Texans have a better roster. Their over-under total, their over is minus 145. The under is plus 120. It stayed the same. I like the over there. They have the best roster. Nick Caserio, their general manager, has done a phenomenal job. They're going to be really, really good. It's actually a very competitive division. The Jaguars, how about this? Their total changed a little bit. It is 8.5. The over went up about 5. The over was minus 115 before the draft. It's now minus 120. The Colts stay the same. The over is plus 115. The under is minus 140. And the Titans, who have had a great offseason, they overhauled the roster. They had to. They had a terrible roster last season. And they have a new coaching staff. The over is plus 115. The under is minus 140. I like him for 6 or 7 wins, but to me, the Texans at 10 wins or more, that's going to happen.
So in the West, I'm hearing rumors after the Travis Kelce deal that the Chiefs number has climbed to 23 wins for the season.
Yeah, they're still It's still 11.5. That's a bad division. It stayed the same. The over 11.5 wins is minus 120. The under's plus 100. I like that. I like that over total. And the Chargers, I don't get this one. They have a brand new coaching staff, new schemes on offense and defense. They have real issues on defense, particularly in the back end.
A horrible
over
coach.
Minus 140, Scott. The over is minus 140. It was actually minus 140. That was pre-draft. The over now is minus 150. So everybody thinks they're going to get 9 wins or more and have a winning record, and the under is plus 125. I actually like the under there.
How do you think Harbaugh's going to do in his first year? Or do you think it takes 2 years? Or can they win with their quarterback? Herbert is, obviously great. Can he win games? He never does.
Yeah, and look, he's had some injuries. Their offensive line's been revamped. I know they're feeling really good about it. Defensively, is where the problem is. They've got 2 older pass rushers. Defensively, in the back end also is a question mark. To me, they're going to be somewhere over 7 or 8 wins. I don't see them having a winning record. The Raiders are going to be a little bit improved. By the way, the Chargers' schedule is not too bad. But again, I just don't think they're going to be good enough on defense to be over 500, which is, by the way they're being hit. People are betting the over, which I don't agree with.
What about Sean Payton? Are paying him a ton of money to win 5 games?
5.5, Scott. The over-under is minus 145. Yeah, they might get 6 wins. The under is plus 120. I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
All right, Adam, great stuff. Go watch the end of the Phillies win.
You got
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. Because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went.
What?
Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
A lot of books, and outside of the New York area, the Canes are actually favored in Game 1 of this series. I'm seeing it right now. I'm looking. I see a minus 115 Canes, Rangers minus 105.
I like the 6 and 7 games prop, like I took with Boston, Toronto, which we now know is going to cash. I think it's got a chance to go the distance. It's going to be a long, tough, close series.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing. I would have really figured it would have been the other way around, but the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access, only on SportsGrid.
Check out the new betting market for the NHL playoffs you can get only at BetMGM. It's incredible. They have empty net goal markets for entire slates as well as specific games. Find them in the app under the NHL tab and then click the props tab and you're golden. You can also find the specific game markets under each game along with the NHL props tab. Plenty of hockey still to talk about, including a huge game, as we mentioned earlier, tonight down in Sunrise, Florida, home of the Florida Panthers against the Boston Bruins.
And home to one of the better PF Changs across the street. It was also
That is
established
true.
here today.
That's really,
on
honestly,
Coast to Coast. That has also been
fantastic
established.
spot.
Before we get there, I mean, why not? I mean, let's just see how the Bruins got here on Saturday night. Game 7, 1-1, going to overtime. You just knew it wasn't going to end well for Toronto, Scotty, and it did not on ABC.
It never does.
These overtime games end on a strange bounce or rebound. Send it to the net and get people to the net. Lindholm, right wing corner. Pasternak is there. He scores! David Pasternak wins it for Boston.
You know, Chicken Parm and McDonough were dead on the call. That strange things happen, strange bounces, and then get it in front of the net, and everything happens. Sure enough, off the corner boards, right into the slot, right into the crease, and he went forehand, backhand, lifter over the pad, lights out, party time at the Garden in Boston. That place was on its ear. I mean, it was lit.
It was lit, and like you say, you know, that's part of, I guess, now I thought that's a weird bounce, you know, but that's part of knowing your home rink, right? Look, I'm not saying that Lindholm from center ice was like, I know this is going to bounce directly in front of the goalie, but they know the weird bounces and crevices that they have on their home rinks.
No doubt.
And, they were able to take advantage of it there. Pasta knew what he was doing, flying down the wing, and that's the guy that Montgomery called out too, right, Scotty? Wanted to see more from Pasta. Scores the overtime winning goal that sends them to tonight in South Florida against the Panthers. Another rematch situation here. Panthers beat the Bruins last year in the first round after the Bruins were up 3-1 and had an unbelievable regular season. The Panthers are favorites in this series, minus 210. Boston plus 170 for the series. The funniest thing, I'll play you this, Scotty, before you give me your thoughts on it. Here's Kachuk. He basically had no faith in Toronto whatsoever. Him and the guys on the Panthers thought they were going to play the Bruins the whole time.
Oh, without this coming out too badly, I mean, I think we all knew it was probably going to be Boston the way that series was going, and I'm sure a lot of people expect that at the beginning of the series. But playoffs, I guess you never know. But I think throughout the whole series, we were probably expecting they were going to come out and win it one way or the other.
Oh, how uncomfortable to just slight them like that. Obviously, all they ever do, the Leafs, is lose. It really is incredible. I bet on Boston in Game 7 because all the Leafs ever do is lose. That's it. That's all they do. They're like the Clippers. All they do is lose. They're like the Sixers. All they do is lose. That's it.
And look, I don't want to go too nuts with it because, listen, they're out. It's over. But I watched them all go to the microphone this morning in their cleanup day. And all of them saying the same thing they say every year, right? Well, you know, we're so close every year and we lose these close, like breaking up the core. You better break it up because you never win. It's the same guys every year. You never win.
They never win.
They just never, ever get it done. For tonight, game number 1, Panthers are minus 165 now, plus $1.40 for the Bruins and a 5.5 total. Panthers have been sitting around for a week. Bruins fresh off that Game 7 Saturday night.
All right, so first of all, the other thing the Leafs said was like, you know, Marner, I want to be here long term. They all want to stay in Toronto. I don't know why you want to stay there. The bottom line is the media there attacks the team, attacks the players. They abuse them. The fans and media there is just overwhelming. And in Montreal, it's overwhelming. It's like nothing you know here in the States. It really isn't. There's not one team in the States that gets the type of media coverage that they get in Toronto and Montreal. It's overwhelming. It's basically the New York Yankees or the Dodgers in baseball, right? Like, it's just overwhelming. I mean, there's 50 mics in there every night. You go to Devils games, there's like 5 mics. You go to, you know, any team, Seattle, what do they got, 2 mics in the room? I mean, let's just be honest. Toronto, it's crazy there. And I don't know why you'd want to be around it if all you ever do is lose. Here's the other thing. Let's stop with that nonsense and get into this game. I'm betting on Boston tonight at plus $1.50. I made the bet this morning. I'm going to take a chance and a risk here on a team that I know is not better than Florida. But they are fresh. And not in terms of legs and in terms of, you know, rest. I'm talking about they're fresh. They're fresh off eliminating the Leafs, fresh off a Game 7. They are winning. They are playing. They are in rhythm. They are night on, night off, night on, night off. All these teams sitting around for a week, playing golf and going to lunch with their wife, having babies, going to the gym, riding their bike, playing golf, sleeping in their bed. I want teams playing every other night. I'm betting on Boston tonight, plus $1.50. I pray to God they beat Florida tonight, and I hate everything Boston except my dog, Boston.
I think Boston wins tonight. I think Florida wins the series. So if you want to go out and find that Boston Game 1 Florida series parlay bet that I always like to play in these playoff series, go ahead and do that. That could be a fun one to do. Vancouver and Edmonton don't start until Wednesday night. I mean, what are we waiting for here, honestly?
Look at that
Edmonton's
price.
minus 275. And Vancouver will have home ice, of course. Vancouver beat them every game in the regular season. This is different. This should not be this much. I feel like this should be a lot closer, Sky. This is going to be a long series.
I'll take the Canucks at 220. Let's go.
Yeah, why not at that price? And Winnipeg head coach Rick Bowness retiring after multiple decades in the league, Scotty, across several teams. Rick Bowness has had enough.
That's great. A nice career. No one cares. Here's the deal. The Edmonton Oilers are like the Leafs. They always lose. So get ready. They're going to lose again. They always lose. They always lose. DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. Because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went.
What?
Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the book.
A lot of books, and outside of the New York area, the Canes are actually favored in Game 1 of this series. I'm seeing it right now. I'm looking. I see a minus 115 Canes, Rangers minus 105.
I like the 6 and 7 games prop, like I took with Boston, Toronto, which we now know is going to cash. I think it's got a chance to go the distance. It's going to be a long, tough, close series.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access, only on SportsGrid.
Great job, Frank the Tank and Luke. I am your father on today's show. And we do a combo meal now. Carver High, strong, into Ferrall finish. Here we go.
All right, Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson feels like he's a full go after, of course, missing most of last season with that shoulder injury. I also saw your boy Joey Silk out at Bengals mini camps throwing the football around today. So Joe Burrow looking good. J.J. Watt says he'll be there for the Texans playoff run if they need him. Like, seriously, stay behind the desk, bro. Like, I mean, this is what we're going to do now all year. Is J.J. Watt going to come back and play for the Texans? I don't need that on my NFL Sundays. Just please, do what you were doing. Brooks Koepka wins the Live Singapore event. He now has won the most Live events, Scotty. By the way, we gave you Brooks Koepka at 14-1 on Golf Wednesday last week during our Live segment. So I hope you went to the window with Brooks Koepka. Taylor Pendrith won the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson. Keith Stewart gave you Taylor Pendrith on Golf Wednesdays last week on Coast to Coast. And I picked him up with a couple homers yesterday live. So we did real well on the golf this weekend. We had
making you
money.
money.
Canelo beat up some tomato can named Jaime Munguia to retain his titles. He's now going to allegedly fight our boy T-Bud in December or January. Can't wait for that. That'll be awesome. Beterbiev is injured. His title bout against Bivol has been postponed. Messi continues to dominate the MLS. 2 records, 5 assists against the Red Bulls on Saturday night. I mean, honestly, 5 assists. Guy had a goal and 5 assists. He was involved in 6 goals. Lando Norris won the F1 event in Miami, which I think is newsworthy, Scotty, because the guy who always wins didn't win. What's his name? Verstappen? He actually lost the race. Good for him. That's always fun to see. And
I'm a Lando fan.
Lando Norris. And Snoop is going to sponsor the Arizona Bowl, Scotty, for you. So Snoop
He's got the Arizona Bowl in Tucson, and it's sponsored by Gin and Juice and Dr. Dre. It just sounds like fun to me. Ferrall finished Michael Irvin allegedly out at NFL Network. You heard Haro talking about the NFL Network is getting rid of all kinds of people left and right. Las Vegas will host WrestleMania 41 next year. I'm already counting the days. Mickey Mantle's 68 jersey expected to fetch $3 million at auction. Jesus. Louisiana teacher accused of sexting and buying booze for young students and having sex with at least one of them. Well, at least she finished it off. You know what I mean? Get the trifecta, the sexting, the booze, and a little sex to go with it. Nice job, teacher. Van Halen was right about the teachers, weren't they? A bowler was bashed in the head with a bowling ball. Carver High's favorite video of the year, watching this chick getting clocked with a bowling ball in the skull. And she went down out cold, hard, immediately, Carver High. That was fantastic.
It's not funny. She got destroyed by that ball. Oh,
it was funny. I want more bowling alley violence in this country. Suspect accused of socking a mother of 3 and breaking her jaw, cut loose by a New York City court judge despite the upgraded felony charge. Let's let more people on the street that sucker punch people in Manhattan in my neighborhood. A New Jersey dad charged with killing his 6-year-old son after abusive treadmill workout blames the death on pneumonia. This guy made his kid run on the treadmill at high speeds because he said the kid was too fat at 6 years old, and the kid died. That guy needs to be put on a treadmill in a federal prison every day for the rest of his life. A Milwaukee man charged with the grisly dismemberment of a college teen after a date night. Here's my recommendation. No more dating apps. You might get dismembered by a freak. John Wayne Bobbitt loses his toes over the water at Camp Lejeune. Every time I see the Lejeune water lawyer commercials on TV, I think, what is happening here? Until I saw the guy that had his package chopped off, now has lost all of his toes because of dirty water. This show is excellent, isn't it? Wisconsin elementary school teacher arrested for making out with an 11-year-old. I told you Van Halen was right. Hot for teacher. Oh, my God. An 11-year-old. Neo-Nazis salute Heil Hitler in a ritzy downtown Greenwich, Connecticut display that was sickening, bringing out all the Heil Hitler youth down in Greenwich, where everybody's worth millions of money. GTD is next. Go to FerrallOnTheBench.com for everything, including belly dancing, and the next 2 days I spend in community service because I'm a criminal and I hang out with mobsters.
just don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Deion. I don't think Deion cares.
We saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Quotes coming out about Embiid. Oh, he's a warrior. You'll never get him off the court. You're just telling me he's an injury. He's one slip and fall away from what's not seeing him anymore in this series.
I would have sat him because there was only 1 day between the two games. It's 2 days between games 2 and games 3, and it's 2 days between games 3 and game 4.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Ferrall coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as human